The night sky above rural Montana looked like a torn black canvas, shredded by the glow of flames rising from what used to be a quiet two-lane road. The fire cracked like angry thunder, swallowing the twisted wreck of a minivan, and for a moment the whole world felt suspended in choking smoke. And then there was him, Clayton Reeves, a humble mechanic with grease-stained hands and a heart that beat louder than his fears, running toward the hellish blaze as if his own life meant nothing compared to the two tiny silhouettes screaming from inside. It was in that split second, with heat tearing at his skin and glass exploding under his boots, that Clayton made a choice that would change everything he had ever known. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and ordinary people doing extraordinary things, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. It truly supports stories like this reaching more hearts. Clayton had never thought of himself as a hero. People in town knew him as the quiet widower who ran the old repair shop off Highway 89. His life had been an endless cycle of engine oil, coffee in metal thermoses, and memories of his late wife Sarah that echoed too loudly in the evenings. His farm was modest, his shop struggling, and his bank account permanently exhausted. But Clayton had a way of continuing anyway, one silent sunrise after another. He'd once dreamed of more, but life had a way of tightening around him until his dreams shrank into simple survival. He was heading home that night, exhausted after staying late to finish a repair for a single mother who couldn't afford delays. His headlights cut through the dark road, and everything seemed ordinary, until he saw the sudden flash of light ahead, followed by a cloud of smoke clawing its way upward. Clayton's heartbeat snapped awake. His truck slowed, then stopped, gravel crunching beneath the tires. And when he stepped out, the flames reflected in his eyes like a nightmare he couldn't wake from. The minivan had veered off the road and wrapped itself around a tree, the front end crumpled like paper. Flames gnawed at the undercarriage, licking upward, growing hungrier by the second. Clayton rushed forward, shielding his face with his sleeve. He could barely see inside, smoke poured through shattered windows like a living thing. Then he heard it, two high-pitched cries, thin, terrified, impossibly small. Twin girls. Maybe 5 or 6. Every instinct inside him snapped into place. Clayton pushed his shoulder against the half-melted door handle, forcing it until the metal screamed. Heat surged against him. He fought through it, reaching in for the closest child. Her tiny fingers clung to his sleeve. He scooped her into his arms, stumbled back, and placed her a safe distance away. She was coughing, trembling, but alive. He turned back immediately. The second child was trapped under a fallen seat, pinned at the leg. Smoke barreled around her like a closing fist. Clayton crawled deeper in, feeling the fire heat the air until each breath burned. His vision blurred. He wedged his arms under the seat and pulled with everything he had left in him. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the seat shifted just enough, and he dragged the little girl free and cradled her against his chest. Behind him, flames roared up as if angry to lose their prey. Clayton dove out just as the interior of the van erupted with a dull, monstrous boom. He threw his body over the girl to shield her from the shower of sparks. And then, silence, only the harsh chorus of crackling fire, the distant wail of approaching sirens, and his own gasps for air. He stayed with the twins until paramedics arrived. Their mother, who had been pulled from the driver's seat by another passerby moments earlier, was in shock, tears streaking down her ash-covered face as she whispered thank you over and over. Clayton simply nodded, still shaking, barely aware of anything except the fierce pounding of his own heart. When he left the scene, he didn't expect anyone to remember his name. Clayton never wanted praise. He simply wanted to go home, sleep off the trauma, and wake up to another day of turning wrenches. But the world had other plans. Morning light spilled over his worn-out farmhouse, revealing a sight so surreal that Clayton thought he must be dreaming. The rumble reached him first, low, thunderous, pulsing through the earth beneath his boots. He stepped outside, squinting up at the sky. Helicopters. Not one, but several, descending toward his fields like great metallic birds. His heart hammered with confusion. Dust swirled around him as they landed, kicking up wind that whipped his shirt against his ribs. The doors opened, and figures emerged, news crews with cameras, medical officials, state representatives, even the local sheriff. And behind them all came the family. The mother, whose name he learned was Karen Mitchell, walked toward him with the twins holding her hands. The girls ran to him, wrapping their arms around his legs before he could even speak. Karen's voice broke as she thanked him, her words trembling with emotion Clayton couldn't quite grasp. She'd contacted the authorities, the regional news, everyone, refusing to let the world overlook what he had done. "You saved my daughters," she said through shaking breaths. "I won't let you disappear quietly." Within minutes, Clayton's quiet farm had become a national headline. Cameras flashed. Reporters leaned in. Questions flooded him. But what truly overwhelmed him wasn't the attention, it was what followed. A state official stepped forward, announcing a civilian bravery commendation. Another presented a grant in Clayton's name, funds to help rebuild his failing repair shop. A local philanthropist had flown in by helicopter, offering to pay off Clay's mortgage entirely. And then Karen shared news that left him almost speechless. Anonymous donors, moved by his story, had launched an online fundraiser overnight. It had already reached hundreds of thousands of dollars. Clayton stood in the middle of it all, stunned, humbled, fighting the unexpected sting of tears. Just 24 hours earlier, he'd been a man struggling to hold together the pieces of a small, quiet life. Now helicopters cover his land, people shout his name, and miracles fall into his hands harder than he can catch them. But beneath all the noise, something else was happening inside him, something deeper. Saving those girls had opened a part of him he'd long buried. The grief for his late wife had left him hollow, drifting. But in risking his life, in giving everything he had for children he didn't even know, he felt something spark awake: purpose. Connection. A tender, aching reminder that maybe God wasn't done with him yet. Maybe there was more to his story than loneliness and quiet struggle. As weeks passed, Clay's life transformed. His shop was rebuilt with donated materials and volunteer hands from the entire community. People lined up not just for repairs but to shake the hand of the men who'd shown courage without hesitation. He rehired 2 workers he had let go months earlier due to financial strain. He expanded the business, adding a small scholarship fund in Sarah's name for young mechanics in training. And the Mitchell family visited often. The twin girls, Abby and Rena, treated Clayton like an honorary grandfather despite his protests. Yet the most touching part came when Karen revealed another truth. She explained that she had been driving late because she was returning from a hospital appointment. She had been diagnosed with a chronic condition that made single parenting nearly impossible. And that night, overwhelmed, exhausted, she had lost control of the van. "You didn't just save the girls," she whispered one afternoon, tears in her eyes. "You saved all 3 of us. I don't know how to repay that." Clayton only shook his head. He never wanted repayment. He just wanted those girls to laugh again, to grow up, to live. Life settled into a new rhythm, one filled with gratitude, renewed friendships, and a stable income he had nearly given up on ever achieving. But the biggest change came in Clayton's heart. His loneliness slowly lifted. Hope, once fragile and hidden, grew steady inside him. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that a single act of courage can ripple through countless lives, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your engagement truly helps keep these powerful stories alive.